Welcome back. Police in the capital are actively investigating two armed robberies that occurred yesterday. In the first incident, the initial report reveals that shortly after 11 a.m. on Monday, the victim reported to the police that a female acquaintance asked him to help a man he knew to drop off some funds at her residence. Well, during the course of the journey, the male suspect brandished a firearm and placed it against the driver's head and demanded that he consume a liquid substance. The complainant refused and engaged in a struggle with the suspect and was able to escape from that vehicle, and he fled the scene. The suspect then subsequently drove off in the victim's vehicle, a black 2011 Nissan Serena. Police investigating. In the second incident, police say shortly before 9 p.m. on Monday, a woman reported that while in the parking lot of a business establishment on Joe Farrington Road, she was talking with a co-worker when she was accosted by two men armed with firearms who demanded cash. She complied, and the suspect escaped with her bag, which had cash and other personal items. Again, police investigating that matter as well. As the leader of the official opposition, Michael Pintard, has yet to retract his statement made on the rally stage last week, alleging that a bag of Bahamian passports were discovered on a Bahamas Air flight going south, presumably to Haiti. The Minister for Foreign Affairs, Fred Mitchell, who has responsibility for the passport office, not taking the allegations lightly, as he says it threatens the credibility of the Bahamian passport globally.
There is no good thing that can come out of any Bahamian, certainly not a public official, undermining the security of our documents. That can only be to have an adverse impact on our country and our ability of our citizens to go from border to border. If we undermine the security of our documents, what is to prevent us when we're going from one border to the next border saying, I read in the news there's something wrong with the Bahamian passport. Why would we want to do that? To undermine the security, safety of our own documents.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says passports are more secure now than at any time in the past. The Chief Passport Officer, Nicholas Simonet, has said publicly that there is no truth to the claims by the leader of the opposition. National Security Minister Wayne Munro is also dismissing allegations made by the opposition leader regarding the allegations involving Bahamian passports, noting that every agency named in the accusation has confirmed no such incident ever occurred. Mr. Munro again called for the opposition leader, Mr. Michael Pintard, to use common sense and withdraw his comments immediately if he cannot produce the evidence.
Allegedly, he has sense. And anyone with alleged sense would figure out that if the airline says no such event happened, if the passport office says no such event happens, if the Royal Bahamas Police Force says no such event was reported to them for investigation, that person who allegedly have sense should have sense enough to retract those comments. It is trying to feed on xenophobic attitudes amongst Bahamians.
Mr. Munro called the opposition leader's remarks reckless and a sign of desperation to remain relevant.
If it is phantom, if he was misled, it shows that he is easily misled and not somebody who should be trusted to run a school, much less a country. My cousin, he has a problem. He is no longer battling to be government. He's battling to be opposition. And so he has to adopt some of the tactics that you see the COI adopt, which is trying to stoke xenophobia. I put his behavior down to the fact that he is battling to remain relevant and battling to remain the official opposition in this country.
Mr. Pintard has said all he has heard from the government is denial. He said what the FNM wants is for officials at the passport office, Bahamas Air, and the police to confirm that no such thing took place. And finally, on another matter, the National Security Minister is describing the incident of the looting of a stranded barge off the coast of Abaco as blatant criminal behavior. Dozens of Abaco residents boarded the stranded barge and entered various containers, removing its contents. Video of the frenzy was shared widely on social media.
It's not a debacle. It is simply a criminal behavior by a large group of people who were brazen enough to record their criminal behavior and publish it on the internet. And what is more disturbing and discouraging is the number of Bahamians who was coming to the aid of defending it. If you are salvaging goods, that means you get them, you give them to the owner. You do not keep them for yourself. It isn't piracy, but that's the difference between thieving and robbery. Both are dishonest, both are crimes. None are actually behavior that you should be encouraging.
Mr. Monroe says the video of people looting, which went viral, could have a long-term consequence for the Abaco's reputation as well as the image for the Bahamas. He says if residents do not cooperate and return the stolen items, it could linger on.
Well, clearly, if you have a culture where people see a gang of people just thieving, as Bahamians would say, of course that's going to give Abaco a black eye. Abaco has an ability to recover from this because no doubt the control of customs may well pursue the vessels for carrying uncustoms goods and have them seized, and no doubt they can recover and rehabilitate their reputation by returning stolen property. Receiving stolen property is also a crime.
The barge that was on its way to Puerto Rico has since been refloated and towed back to Jacksonville, Florida for inspection and inventory. That'll do it for your JCN Evening News. I'm Jcn Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.